Okay, I'm back. You probably remember those two Blitz Sonic Ultra clips I made for, whatchamacallit, Angel Island plus Seaside Hill Trails? Well, this one's actually my first ever object placement I've ever done to a stage. Watch this. Awesome! I just love doing that every time. Those checkpoints, I was too lazy to modify, and I'm just putting infinite boost on because of how little rings there are. I know it seemed pointless to put so many lives, but still, it was cool. And that whole section I just did before you start this loop, you could try it in 2D. Like, do this. Don't adjust the camera angle at all. Just watch. You can do this whole thing in 2D. Due to how well it was done out. You can. And the theme that's being used is Planet Wisp Act 2 from the Wii version. I found this one to be such a common theme. In fact, I put it on my MP3 and I did a whole test. It's like, no. Yeah, if you don't actually have lag, if you actually have, you can actually get it. I was able to get it before, but the thing is that at times it messes up. There should have been 9 rather than just 7, but I don't know what happened. But anyway, I was just a little too lazy to worry about it. And also, do you find the new boost I actually made pretty cool? All it was is that I simply did was took this file that was from Blitz Sonic Unleashed 2.2 engine release by Supersonic 68. And was able to do that, just like so. I took this one file, I placed it in there, and bing bang boom, that's what it showed. But the thing that really does suck is that I wasn't able to use the boost that appears when it came to, like the colors boost that came with this model at all. Oh, when it came to the Link Sonic 5 engine. It just used the same one over and over again. Really, if the life counter didn't glitch with mine, you should get up to 7. And the checkpoints, if you're wondering why they're all sideways, I was just too lazy. Well, I was not too lazy to modify them. More or less where it's like when I was trying to, it kept actually flipping and all of that. Because, well, when the person made the stage, he actually used it where it's like, I was going along, right now it's like I'm going along the Z-axis, not the X-axis. So because of that, it was a little bit trickier than it looked. I was able to get them in place, it's just trying to make sure they were facing the right way, but I wasn't too concerned. And that gold ring was always there. The enemies that you saw when I hit that second life, that one I just pretty much renamed robot to enemies. And pretty much because of that, that's why it shows. And when it came to those areas where you saw the bunch of enemies there, where you hear that big loud bang kind of sound, it used to be spike balls, but instead I just renamed them to enemy. I figured what's the point of I figured make that part actually have a purpose. And those dash panels and trick hoops I actually put in there. Plus, you can, if your computer does lag and you're going a little too fast and you don't actually hit the dash panel, the jump panels, you can still end up hitting off the hoops. And when it came to it, the dash panels that were after the loop, as well just before you start the loop, I removed those ones too. The one I meant that was actually before the loop, I did that by accident. The other ones I did on purpose. Someday I should actually find out how I can adjust shadows, therefore it doesn't show just underneath Sonic, like at the side of Sonic, or something like that. Sort of like I see a shadow of Sonic right next to me and I know, oh my god, I'm erasing my shadow. Well, that's all I can show you for this first ever object placement stage I've ever done. Well, object placement to a stage I've ever done. The reason why I say it's an object placement, not just an object modification, is because those trick hoops and those dash panels and the enemies were never actually there beforehand. It was until I modified a couple of things and added a few things, that's why. Plus that spring you saw just before I took that loop, a really big one, after I hit that last checkpoint marker, that was actually a red one, but I renamed it so it says Spring 4 rather than Spring, because of how low powered it was, so I figured what's the point of having a really powerful one? Might as well use a low powered one. And that's all from me. Next time I'm probably going to do is actually that Tropical Resort by AC Crash Sonic, and pretty much will actually show you some of the object modification. Not object placement, but object modification I did, such as renaming any kind of enemy into regular enemies. Therefore, you notice that. Or actually, as well as winking the balloons as well. Therefore, because I know they'll always hit, so that's why it's actually I did that. All I can just say is see you next time. Plus, I gotta get going to school. I start school in about an hour.